Hello YouTube. I am going to show you how to use film for an impossible camera that does not come with an internal battery in this pack with the Polaroid 600, which does need an internal battery. There's two contacts in here. The same way there's two contacts right here that meet those two and magic happens and the spirit of the battery is transferred into this wonderful device. Well, so what I did to modify it so that this camera can use batteryless film, if I can even take this out here. There we go. It's like opening a sardine can. Alright. Now, this does not have the two battery contacts because this doesn't have a battery. This is actually from a Spectra package from an impossible film pack. So it won't fit in this camera anyway, so I can't even test it. But this one doesn't have any battery contacts, so you know I'm not fucking around. And here's what I came up with here. The two tabs that are in here that contact the battery they actually come through the back of the device. Move this. They come to the back of the device and they kind of come up right here. And if you take off this shell, you'll realize that the two contacts are wide open. It was easy enough to solder two wires and drill a hole, if you can see that. I don't know if that's working, but so I red for positive, blue because I didn't have black, blue for negative. And it's pretty easy to tell which one's the right ones in there because you can see the one for the flash and it's a red wire connected to that terminal, so you know which one's red and you know which one's ground without ever really having to do anything, which is nice. Sometimes that can be tricky. And I made a 6-volt battery pack by taping and wiring together 4 AA batteries. Each AA battery is 1.5 volts times 4, 6 volts. And the milliamp hours is something like 2,500 or something like that. It doesn't really matter because that wasn't something I absolutely needed. And we have our easy method of fixing it to this camera, which I just went with Velcro because it was cheap. This whole thing probably took me maybe 20 minutes for the taking apart, soldering, and then making the battery pack and all that crap. So it really wasn't that big a deal. And I have a little switch just because I think that's fun. And you can actually tell that it works because right now it's off. And I have the switch. The switch, if you could see that, the circle is supposed to be on, and it's off right now. Now it was on, now it's back off again. But so I wired the switch wrong, essentially. I could switch it around, but who really cares? If I'm the only one who's going to use it, then I can just remember that. So the reason, listen, it's gonna go on, it's gonna keep going on. And it's just gonna keep going and going and going and going. And the reason is because there is a lever in here that when the pack goes in, it pushes the lever up. I don't even know if this pack's gonna fit because it's for a different camera. But you put this in, and the lever goes up. Or it doesn't, because it doesn't fit. Alright, so I almost had a little bit of a heart attack realizing that all my plans went to ruin and nothing worked. But so this impossible film pack without the battery things, it actually has a couple things to keep it from fitting in a 600. So one of those things was tabs. Maybe this other one has it. No. So the Spectra doesn't have the tabs. This one had 3 tabs. You can see where I cut them off to get them to fit. 1 tab here, 1 tab here, and another tab here. And they're just tiny little things. I cut those off. And unfortunately, one more thing, there's a metal piece in here. And you can see it's kind of like bent back. So it's catching on this thing. When you slide it in, it won't let it go any further. So you got to use like an index card, and you put it in there. Put the index card in first, see if I can do this on camera in one shot. Put the index card in first, and this guy eventually kind of slides right in there. There you go. There you go. Clicks right in there. It is the correct size as far as width and height, because it's pretty tight in there. It's not going anywhere. Now this is a 600, as you can see still. Let's see if it ejects the proper slide. Instead of injecting them all in one go or not working at all. Didn't sound good. I've heard healthier cameras, that is for sure. I've actually haven't used one of these, so we'll see. Take a picture here, an awful selfie from your angle. Okay. Since I want to shield it, there it is. We'll work on it. Put that in a dark spot for now. Let's see if this works. Sorry about that. Probably could have thought about that a little bit better. But so I don't know how that's going to come out. The speed might be wrong. I mean, I'm talking now. The ability of a 600 to work with the film is getting beyond my mechanical abilities at the moment, because I don't know all too much about the speed of the film. I know, for example, SX70 film, 600 film doesn't work in an SX70 because of some reason, and I think it has to do with camera speeds, like 600 camera speed versus 700, or I honestly don't know. Eventually I'll figure out what that means. I mean, you could tell me one's 100, one's 200. Eventually that doesn't really mean anything to me. So eventually I'll figure it out, because I'm getting into some other analogs, well, just getting into cameras in general. Next up, I'll have to show you my Pro Cam, which is a Spectra base model, and I really hope this works out. I mean, I'll show you the picture in a minute. Probably next there'll be a screenshot of the picture. So, cool. Here it is, again. The lame-ass battery pack. If you want me to show you the internals, I can. Some other time. It's kind of a pain to take it apart, so if it works. If you guys want it, I'll do it.